said that reading maketh a man. And so our next guest is here to share with us the Yaadi Culture Series, which is a vibrant collection of children's books that celebrates Jamaican culture and heritage. It teaches through engaging stories and colorful illustrations. And each book highlights the beauty of the island's traditions, language, and values. Story, writer, and publisher Adrian St. Duncan joins us now here on Sunrise. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's great to have you. Before we get into the books that you have here with you, can we just please talk about the fact that I'm absolutely thrilled to know that you are a librarian and the lost art of library hopefully will be a very common and fun and engaging thing that comes back into the sphere. Talk about life as a librarian.
Life as a librarian is exciting for me.
Yeah.
I am, yes, a traditional librarian, but I try to mix technology with librarianship, so to speak. I'm an academic librarian with a mix of law librarianship. I work at the University of the West Indies, specifically at the Law Branch Library. So, you know, the gamut of what we do is attesting to physical stuff, the laws of Jamaica, legal research, etc. It's exciting, it's engaging, and I love it. I love it.
I love what books do for the reader. I also love what books do for the author.
Yes.
And in this sense, you kind of sit on both sides.
Yes.
As someone who has read quite a bit, but also as the librarian and now the author.
Yes.
Tell us about your book series and the why, the where, the how. Tell us all about it.
The why. Let's start with the why.
Yeah.
The why started when I was much younger. I'm a common entrance product.
Me too.
Aha.
Me too.
Wonderful. so I'm from Clarendon.
Right.
Let me give that. So when I used to go to school, I used to pick up things on the road. My mom used to say, you know, somebody will obey you because you're taking up stuff off the road and you don't know what's there. You know, something meant for somebody else and you'll get it. Yeah. But it sparked an interest in me insofar as to developing a reading, and then I'll build on what it is that was on the paper. So I would get a sentence and I'd finish a story with it. Right. Or I'd start a story with it. Growing up, I wanted to share aspects of how I grew up. I went through a lot, and I guess the books would speak to aspects of, you know, what I went through and what I wanted to share with persons.
I know that in introducing the books, we spoke about, you know, Jamaican culture and traditions. Tell us about what are some of the traditions that we can find in the books. Does the story tell stories that we would have heard as fables as children? Tell me a bit more.
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that I'll use Golden Whispers as a perfect example. We know of the rolling calf story.
Yes.
So I put a spin on the rolling calf story in not a negative light insofar as the fable aspect of it, in the folklore.
Right.
But a young boy who's curious about a cow with a ring in the nose, and that is the fascination behind that story. So there's a little spin on it, putting my original copyright aspect, putting my original on it to preserve my copyright, etc., and to give my thoughts on what the story meant to me, my interpretation of the story, so to speak. That's for the stories that were not fully mine, Shangoli Boys. That's my growing up story.
Right.
That's me sharing with you what my brothers did. We went to the river. My arms, I think about 7 times totaling, were broke. Yeah, so it helped to build character in me. Yeah. Strength, so to speak.
You mentioned Golden Whispers.
Yes.
You also just mentioned which one?
Shangoli Boys. It's not here.
Shangoli Boys.
Yes.
Tell me about Mongoose Memoirs.
Mongoose Memoirs came out of Aiden, my son. My son is 2. Oh, Aiden was supposed to fall asleep one night. Thank you so much.
Oh, I didn't know you were also a comedian, Adrian. Not the 2-year-old falling asleep. In what world? I don't know.
And it worked well, to be fair. I started to make up a story on spot.
Yeah.
And he was fascinated. I started to talk about a mongoose, because we had seen a mongoose running in the yard early in the day.
Yes.
So I made up a story about Fetch, a mongoose called Fetch, and he lived in Blue Mountains, and he would go to the river, and he would catch fish, and he adds to the ecosystem by, you know, getting 1-2 fish from here. So it kind of played on his imagination.
I love that.
He fell asleep. He actually did fall asleep. Night number 2, he was ready for another story.
So you continued what Fetch did the next day?
The next day. So,
Oh,
so that morphed into
that.
part 2 of the series. So we build on Mango's memoirs. So there's a sequel for Mango's memoirs. And then I started to tell him about my story. You know, Shangoli Boys, his uncles, and you know, how we grew up. It morphed into an actual book.
Very lovely. What's next for you?
What's next for me is to build further on Yaadi culture and to build further on brand publishing Yaadi culture, so to speak. We are a self-publishing company, as you rightfully would know. I want to help others to push forward their dream, to sell their story, to get an opportunity to put a spin in a nice way. We are storytellers, but we're also educators. The stories actually teach. All stories here, there's a hidden message behind it. Andrew Fo's is an artificial intelligence story. Ooh. It is based in 2525 with a floating farm, with conservation and environment. Aha,
very
considerations.
cool.
Thank you so much.
That would have been our Jetsons.
That would have been our Jetsons.
Yes.
But this is a rooster. So I still use characters that would be relatable.
And very Jamaican.
Thank you. I'm a rooster. Taylor Hall, Fraternity of Roosters.
Yeah.
That's how my logo came about.
I noticed.
So I'm building on that, so
Nice.
to speak. Yes.
Where do people get a hold of your books?
Well, currently we are locally distributed, so they would have to, you know, reach out to myself or a member of my team, and we, you know, provide them with further details.
And how do they reach out to you?
So you would send us an email, adrian.duncan@gmail.com, or you just shoot us a message on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is at the Yaadi Culture Series, or myself, Adrian_St Patrick.
Awesome. I actually just, as we head out of this interview, can we just speak a little bit to the importance of getting our children reading?
Yes.
What reading does for their brains, how reading helps them with vocabulary. Just let's do the full stop at that point. Tell me.
So, using books as the perfect example, each book, there are 13 words inside of it that is aimed at developing your vocabulary.
Yeah.
You are to identify. That's now spilling the beans on my next challenge. So I'm going to put forward a challenge for persons to identify all 13 words, and if you're able to, then you'll be getting a prize. Tier 2, we'd ask for a dramatization of one of our stories. It helps for you to read, foster the reading, and then a dramatic piece, so to speak, to build on your creativity.
Apply it in
there we go.
Another way, yeah.
I'm from the branch library era, so I used to have a library card. I used to have to go to the library every summer.
I love
I
that.
actually want to see persons still going to the library.
Yeah. Let's bring back library culture.
Thank you.
I'm here for it. Let's do it, Adrian. We can do it, you know?
Yes, we can.
Library cards rule.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Really, really great stuff. Keep going.
Thank you.
All right, that was Adrian St. Patrick Duncan, story writer and publisher. It's now, well, it's time to go for a short break, but when we return, it is, what's coming up? It's rap time. Please stay with us on Sunrise. Soon come.